Have you spent decades building a life filled with accomplishments, relationships, and wisdom, only to feel that society now expects you to hand the reins over to your children? What if there's another way to navigate this chapter of your life? One that honors both your independence and the relationships you cherish? Imagine waking up each morning with purpose, confident in your ability to handle whatever challenges arise, knowing that you've created systems that support your autonomy without burdening those you love. This isn't just possible, it's happening in communities across the country where older adults are rewriting the rules of aging. Today, we'll explore 8 powerful keys that can help you maintain your independence while deepening meaningful connections. You'll discover practical strategies that real people are using right now to create lives of dignity, purpose, and self-sufficiency, without becoming isolated or placing undue responsibility on their adult children. We're here to share life lessons worth remembering. Subscribe now so you don't miss the next one. Now, to illustrate this, let me share a story that brings these principles to life. The sun rises over Harborview, a picturesque coastal retirement community where the morning light catches the gentle movements of a solitary figure by the shoreline. Sophia Chen, a 69-year-old retired physician, practices Tai Chi with the practiced grace of someone who understands that movement is medicine. Her calm focus reflects the intentional way she approaches every aspect of her life. As Sophia completes her morning ritual, she checks her watch and quickens her pace toward the community center. Inside, 4 friends have already gathered around a table by the window, steam rising from their coffee cups as animated conversation fills the air. Eleanor Hayes, a 72-year-old retired literature professor with silver hair and bright eyes that miss nothing, is describing her latest technology workshop with characteristic enthusiasm. Beside her, Walter Parker, 68, a widower and former architect, listens intently while sketching something on a napkin, likely another clever home modification he's designing. Across the table, Olivia Bennett, 75, with soil still under her fingernails. From an early morning in the community garden she organizes, is sharing upcoming harvest plans with Jack Wilson. At 70, the former executive has reinvented himself as an artist, his hands now permanently stained with paint instead of ink from signing corporate documents. "Sophia!" Eleanor calls out as she spots her friend entering. "Just in time, we're debating the greatest gift we can give our children." Sophia slides into the empty chair, accepting the cup of green tea Walter pushes toward her. "And what's the verdict?" she asks, unwrapping her scarf. Eleanor sets down her teacup with deliberate care. "Independence," she says firmly. "The greatest gift we can give our children is our independence." "Exactly," Walter agrees, tapping his sketch. "That's why I'm teaching that home repair workshop next week. I never want to call my son in a panic over a leaking faucet, or have our kids checking their phones constantly, worried we've fallen and can't get up," Olivia adds, exchanging a knowing look with Sophia. Jack nods thoughtfully. "My daughter actually thanked me last month, said knowing I have a fulfilling life here gives her the freedom to focus on her own family without guilt." "That's it exactly," Sophia says, warming her hands around her mug. "It's not about needing no one, it's about creating systems where connection is a choice rather than a necessity." The 5 friends represent different approaches to this shared philosophy, each bringing unique skills and perspectives to their community while maintaining lives that don't depend on their children's constant intervention. Their weekly breakfast isn't just about companionship. It's where they exchange ideas, resources, and support, strengthening a network they've intentionally created. As the morning light streams through the windows, illuminating their animated conversation, they embody a powerful truth. This chapter of life can be one of the most empowered yet. Over the next few minutes, we'll explore the 8 essential keys these friends have discovered. Practical strategies you can adapt to your own life, regardless of your living situation or resources. Because independence isn't about isolation. It's about creating sustainable systems that honor your dignity while acknowledging the human need for connection. Let's begin by exploring the first key to maintaining your independence while strengthening meaningful connections. Cultivating a skill-sharing ecosystem. In the community center at Harborview, Walter Parker stands before a group of 15 residents, his sleeves rolled up as he demonstrates how to replace a washer in a leaking faucet. His hands move with precision, born from decades of architectural work. But his focus isn't on impressing his audience, it's on transferring knowledge. "I never want to call my son in panic over a leaking faucet," Walter explains as he tightens the fixture. "And now none of us have to." The participants nod in understanding. Many have experienced that moment of frustration when a minor household issue becomes the reason their children rush over, looking concerned and perhaps a bit impatient. What Walter and his friends have discovered is that independence doesn't mean knowing everything. It means creating networks where knowledge flows freely. Think about your own life for a moment. How many times have you hesitated before calling a child or grandchild for help with something you felt you should know? That hesitation often stems from not wanting to reinforce perceptions of dependency. The beauty of a skill-sharing ecosystem is that it recognizes we all have something valuable to offer. At Harborview, Sophia offers workshops on understanding medication interactions and advocating effectively during doctor appointments. Eleanor, with her quick mind and patient teaching style, helps residents navigate smartphones and tablets. Jack shares financial literacy tips gained from his executive years. You might wonder how this approach could work in your own life. Start by taking inventory of your skills, not just professional expertise, but practical knowledge you've gathered through decades of living. Perhaps you're a wizard at organization, understand how to cook nutritious meals on a budget, or know how to maintain a vehicle. These seemingly ordinary abilities are valuable currency in a skill-sharing economy. Next, identify areas where you'd welcome knowledge. Maybe technology feels intimidating, or perhaps household repairs have always been someone else's domain. Be honest about these gaps. They're not failings, but opportunities for connection. The final step is finding or creating spaces where this exchange can happen naturally. This might be a formal arrangement through community centers or religious organizations, or simply a regular coffee date with neighbors who share this vision. The format matters less than the fundamental principle. We support each other's independence by sharing what we know. When my arthritis makes it hard to open jars, I don't need to wait for my daughter's weekly visit, Eleanor tells a newcomer to their community. Walter modified my kitchen tools, and Olivia showed me exercises that help with grip strength. Independence isn't about doing everything alone. It's about having resources beyond your children. This approach embodies the Stoic principle that we can't control all circumstances, but we can control how we prepare for and respond to challenges. By deliberately creating networks of shared knowledge, you're not just solving immediate problems, you're building resilience that preserves your autonomy and, by extension, your dignity. Moving from shared knowledge to shared security, let's explore the second key, building an emergency response collective. The camera follows Olivia Bennett as she welcomes a couple who recently moved to Harborview. At 75, she moves with the vitality of someone decades younger, her hands gesturing expressively as she explains the community's innovative buddy system. My daughter wanted me to wear one of those medical alert pendants that would call her first, Olivia explains with a chuckle. But our system is better. We check on each other daily and have protocols connected directly to emergency services. Olivia leads them to a simple board near the community mailboxes. Each resident's name appears beside a small magnetic marker that gets moved from checked in to out and about or assistance welcome throughout the day. It's low-tech but effective, creating visibility without surveillance. We're not monitoring each other, Sophia adds, joining the tour. We're simply acknowledging that being seen is a basic human need and creating a system where concerns can be quickly addressed by the appropriate resources. What makes this approach powerful is that it separates emergency response from family dynamics. When adult children are the first point of contact for every concern, it creates an unspoken pressure on both generations. Your children feel perpetually on call, potentially compromising their own family and work commitments. You might hesitate to report minor concerns, not wanting to bother them, sometimes allowing small issues to become serious ones. Think about your current emergency plans. If you experienced a fall, a concerning symptom, or even just needed help with an urgent but non-medical matter, who would you call? If your answer instantly focuses on your children, consider whether this arrangement truly serves both your needs. Creating an emergency response collective doesn't require a retirement community setting. It can be as simple as establishing regular check-ins with neighbors or friends, utilizing local senior services that offer call checks, or exploring technology solutions that connect directly to appropriate services rather than to family members first. Jack Wilson, observing the newcomers' tour from his porch, waves them over. The first month I moved here, after my wife passed, I kept my phone by my bed all night, worried about what would happen if I needed help, he shares. Now I sleep better than I have in years, knowing there's a system larger than any one person looking out for me. This approach honors the Stoic teaching that peace comes not from controlling circumstances, but from having sound protocols for navigating whatever arises. Your emergency response collective becomes a tangible expression of community interdependence, distinct from the parent-child relationship that supports everyone's dignity. Now let's explore the third key that the friends at Harborview have discovered: creating a purposeful daily rhythm. The camera follows Jack as he navigates his day with intentional presence. At sunrise, he's setting up his easel by the harbor, capturing the changing light with bold brush strokes. By mid-morning, he's delivering art supplies to the community's youth program. Afternoon finds him in quiet reading, and evening brings social connection at community gatherings. Structure isn't just for your working years, Jack explains to a group of new residents. A purposeful rhythm keeps your mind sharp and your heart full. What Jack understands intuitively is something neuroscience confirms. The aging brain benefits enormously from structure and purpose. Without external frameworks, like work schedules or child-rearing responsibilities, days can blur together. This temporal disorientation doesn't just affect mood, it impacts cognitive function, physical health, and your sense of agency. Eleanor joins Jack's orientation session, adding her perspective. When I first retired, I thought freedom meant spontaneity, no plans, no schedules. Within 3 months, I was calling my daughter daily, not because I needed anything specific, but because I was adrift. She smiles ruefully at the memory. Now I have anchor points throughout my week, teaching, learning, creating, connecting. My daughter and I still talk, but because we want to, not because I'm filling a void. Creating your own purposeful rhythm requires honest reflection about what truly matters to you. Consider activities that engage different aspects of your being, intellectual pursuits that challenge your mind, physical activities appropriate for your body, creative expressions that nourish your spirit, and social connections that acknowledge your need for community. The key is consistency without rigidity. Walter explains this as he joins the conversation. Monday mornings, I mentor architecture students online. I never reschedule those sessions. They're sacred. But Wednesday afternoons are for productive wandering. I might sketch buildings downtown, visit a museum, or just observe people in the park. Structure creates freedom, paradoxically. This balance between reliable routines and spaciousness creates a life where you're neither adrift nor overscheduled. Your adult children see you thriving in a life of your own design, not waiting for their visits or calls to provide purpose to your days. The most powerful aspect of creating this rhythm, Sophia adds, is that it's self-perpetuating. Each meaningful day builds momentum for the next. You're not fighting entropy or boredom, you're flowing with purpose. This approach embodies the Stoic principle of finding peace through simplicity and intention. By creating rhythms aligned with your values, you're not just filling time, you're crafting a life where meaning doesn't depend on external validation or family-centered purpose. Your independence becomes not just a practical reality, but a philosophical stance. You are the author of your days. Please hit the subscribe button if you appreciate advice like this. It helps us create more content you can use. Let's move to our fourth key, establishing a financial sanctuary. The community center classroom is filled to capacity as Olivia Bennett spreads her materials across the front table. Color-coded files, a tablet displaying financial software, and printed resources. From financial advisors specializing in retirement planning. Financial independence isn't just about having money, she explains while organizing her presentation. It's about managing it confidently. She looks up at the attendees, her expression serious. Every time you have to ask for help deciphering a bill or understanding a financial decision, you're surrendering a piece of your autonomy. Olivia speaks from experience. After her husband died unexpectedly, she discovered he had handled all their finances. My children meant well, she tells the group, but their help came with subtle suggestions about how I should spend their inheritance. That's when I realized financial knowledge wasn't optional. It was essential to my dignity. Financial sanctuary, as Olivia defines it, consists of 4 elements: clarity, control, contingency planning, and confidence. She guides participants through each element methodically, starting with clarity. You need absolute transparency about what you have, what you owe, what's coming in and what's going out, she explains, showing her simplified tracking system. Complexity is the enemy of independence. If you can't explain your financial situation clearly, you can't manage it effectively. For those in the room who find technology challenging, Olivia offers paper-based systems alongside digital options. The method matters less than the habit, she emphasizes. Daily or weekly review keeps surprises to a minimum. The second element, control, focuses on automation and simplification. Olivia demonstrates how automated bill payments, spending, alerts, and regular financial reviews create a system where nothing falls through the cracks. When my daughter visits, we talk about her children and her work, not whether I remembered to pay my insurance premium, she says with satisfaction. Walter raises his hand, adding his perspective. After my wife died, I consolidated accounts and updated all my passwords in a secure system both my son and I can access, but that he doesn't need to use while I'm capable. It's about creating transparency without requiring intervention. Contingency planning forms the third element of financial sanctuary. Sophia joins the presentation, bringing her medical expertise to this portion. We all need to prepare for 3 scenarios, she explains. Short-term incapacity, long-term care needs, and end-of-life decisions. Having dedicated resources and clear directives for each scenario isn't morbid, it's liberating. The room grows quiet as participants consider these realities. Eleanor breaks the silence with her characteristic directness. My children know exactly what insurance policies I have, what they cover, and how to access benefits if needed. They know my wishes for various scenarios and have legal authority to implement them. This isn't about surrendering control. It's about extending my autonomy beyond my capacity. The final element, confidence, brings the workshop full circle. Olivia emphasizes the importance of having a financial advisor who specializes in retiree needs, understands your values, and respects your decision-making authority. Your financial advisor should never speak around you to your children unless you've explicitly requested this, Jack adds, from his seat near the window. I interviewed 3 advisors before finding one who treated me as the primary client, not a declining asset to be managed. As the workshop concludes, Olivia distributes a simple checklist for creating financial sanctuary. Start where you are, she encourages the group. Complete 1 item per week. Within a few months, you'll have transformed your relationship with money and, by extension, with your adult children. This approach honors the Stoic principle that true wealth lies not in abundance, but in self-sufficiency. By creating systems that manage both everyday transactions and extraordinary circumstances, you're not just organizing finances, you're reclaiming agency. Your children will always be part of your life, but they don't need to be your bookkeepers, financial advisors, or emergency fund. The greatest gift my mother gave me, Olivia shares as participants gather their materials, wasn't an inheritance. It was never having to worry about her finances. She lived modestly but wisely, and I want to pass that same gift to my children. As Sophia helps collect workshop materials, she adds a final thought that bridges to our next key. Financial sanctuary creates the foundation. Now, let's explore how we build the relationships that make life rich beyond any monetary measure. Let's explore our 5th key to maintaining independence while creating meaningful connections, nurturing a chosen family network. The community center at Harborview is transformed for a celebration. Tables adorned with fresh flowers from Olivia's garden create an atmosphere of casual elegance. Eleanor moves between tables, arranging name cards with artistic flair, occasionally consulting her handwritten seating chart. Blood ties are precious, Eleanor says as she places a final arrangement of coastal wildflowers at the center table. But the family we choose can be equally sustaining. What Eleanor and her friends have discovered is something social scientists have been documenting for decades: the profound impact of chosen family on well-being, particularly in later years. While biological family provides one kind of connection, chosen family, friends who have become as close as relatives, offers something uniquely valuable. When my wife died, Walter explains to a recently widowed neighbor, my son and daughter were wonderful. They called, visited, made sure I was eating. But they couldn't be with me in the ordinary moments. They couldn't just sit in silence while I processed my grief, or remind me of who I was beyond being a husband. That's what these friends did. Sophia joins the conversation, adding her perspective. In traditional cultures, elders remain surrounded by extended family throughout their lives. Most of us don't have that option anymore. Our children move for work, grandchildren grow up in different states. We need to deliberately create the village that once happened naturally. The room grows thoughtful as everyone considers this reality. Jack breaks the silence with his characteristic practicality. The key is reciprocity. Family relationships often fall into established patterns. Parent supports child or child supports parent. But friendship allows for fluid exchange. Sometimes you're the helper, sometimes they helped. This balance creates relationships where dependency doesn't define the interaction. When Eleanor experienced pneumonia last winter, her friends organized a rotation of support, meals delivered, medications picked up, evening check-ins. 2 months later, when Olivia needed cataract surgery, Eleanor coordinated similar support for her. My daughter wanted to fly in when I got sick, Eleanor tells the group as they finalize seating arrangements. I appreciated her concern, but told her it wasn't necessary. She was surprised at first, even a little hurt, but when she understood I had meaningful support, she was actually relieved. Our next visit could be about connection, not caretaking. Creating your own chosen family network begins with honest assessment. Consider your current relationships. Who energizes you? Who shares your values? Who demonstrates reliability in both ordinary and difficult times? These questions help identify potential core members of your chosen family. Next, cultivate these relationships with intentionality. Regular connection matters, whether through shared meals, common interests, or simply being present in each other's lives. Vulnerability matters too. Allowing yourself to need others creates space for genuine reciprocity. The weekly check-in call I have with my son is important, Olivia explains to a newcomer. But knowing I have friends who understand my daily life, who notice if I seem low energy or celebrate when I master a new skill, that's what makes me feel truly seen. This approach honors the stoic recognition that humans are social beings, designed for connection. By deliberately nurturing relationships that provide both practical support and emotional sustenance, you're not replacing family ties but expanding your circle of meaningful connection, creating a network where independence and interdependence coexist beautifully. As the community gathering begins, the 5 friends take their places at different tables, each connecting with broader circles, strengthening the fabric of their chosen family network. Their biological families will always hold special significance, but they've discovered the profound truth that love and care can flow through many channels, enriching life immeasurably. Now let's explore our 6th key: designing an evolving living space. The camera follows Walter Parker as he leads a home tour for interested community members. At 68, the former architect moves through spaces with professional attention to detail, pointing out features that blend seamlessly into attractive interiors. Independence isn't about refusing help, Walter explains while demonstrating subtle modifications throughout the homes. It's about creating environments that enable self-sufficiency. In the kitchen of a recently renovated cottage, he points out counter heights adjusted for comfortable food preparation, cabinets modified with pull-down shelving, and lighting designed to eliminate shadows. Nothing screams adaptive feature. Each element contributes to both functionality and aesthetic appeal. Most homes are designed for people at the height of their physical capabilities, Walter explains to the tour group. But our bodies change. Why shouldn't our homes evolve with us? This perspective represents a fundamental shift from reactive to proactive thinking. Rather than waiting until a crisis necessitates dramatic home modifications, often implemented hurriedly and with institutional aesthetics, Walter advocates for thoughtful adaptation over time. In the bathroom, he demonstrates how what appears to be a decorative tile border actually provides grab support, how a bench in the shower serves both practical and visual purposes, and how lighting is positioned to prevent disorientation at night. My son was concerned about my living alone after my wife died, Walter shares with the group. He researched those emergency alert systems and started sending me links to assisted living communities. What changed his thinking was seeing how I'd modified this space. Now he understands that independence isn't just a state of mind, it's something we can design for. Creating an evolving living space begins with honest assessment of your current and anticipated needs. Consider aspects of your home that already challenge you, steps that feel steeper than they once did, lighting that no longer seems adequate, storage that requires bending or reaching uncomfortably. These pain points offer clues about where adaptation might begin. Next, research options that address these needs without institutional aesthetics. The market for universal design, features that work for people of all abilities, has expanded dramatically. From kitchen tools with ergonomic grips to smart home technology that eliminates the need for physical manipulation, solutions exist that support independence while maintaining beauty. The grab bar my daughter installed in my bathroom looked like it belonged in a hospital. One tour participant comments, "I never used it because it made me feel old every time I saw it." Walter nods in understanding. "That's why I design modifications that serve multiple purposes and complement the home's aesthetic. The support you need should feel like a natural extension of your environment, not a glaring reminder of limitation." This approach to home adaptation embodies the Stoic principle of accepting what we cannot change while focusing on what we can control. You may not be able to prevent every physical challenge that comes with aging, but you can create spaces that minimize their impact on your independence. As the tour concludes in a sunlit living room where furniture is arranged to facilitate both conversation and easy navigation, Walter shares a final thought. The home that served you at 50 may need to evolve as you move through your 60s, 70s, and beyond. This isn't about surrendering to age. It's about creating environments that continue to support your best life, whatever that looks like for you. The tour participants linger, asking questions and taking notes. Many mention adult children who worry about their safety and independence. Walter's demonstrations have given them tangible solutions that address those concerns without compromising dignity or aesthetic preferences. "My daughter can stop worrying about me falling," one woman says with satisfaction, "and I can stop worrying about her worrying. That alone makes these adaptations worthwhile." This key reminds us that independence often depends on thoughtful preparation. Creating spaces that eliminate many reasons children might feel their parents need assistance or intervention. Your home becomes not just where you live, but a tangible expression of your commitment to sustainable independence. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel if you like this kind of content. Let's move to our 7th key, embracing health sovereignty. The Community Wellness Center at Harborview hosts weekly workshops led by Sophia Chen. Today, the retired physician stands before a group of attentive participants, her professional demeanor softened by genuine concern for her peers. "Your health journey belongs to you," she emphasizes, while demonstrating how to organize a personal health record. Being an informed participant in your healthcare rather than a passive recipient is perhaps the most powerful way to maintain independence as you age. Sophia distributes binders with tabbed sections, explaining her system for tracking medications, symptoms, questions, and provider information. "This isn't just record keeping," she explains. "It's about taking ownership of your health narrative." What Sophia understands from both professional experience and personal practice is that healthcare decisions represent one of the first areas where adult children often begin assuming control, sometimes subtly, sometimes overtly. This shift frequently occurs with good intentions, but can undermine both dignity and optimal care. "My son started attending my appointments after I received a challenging diagnosis," one participant shares. "He means well, but he sometimes speaks over me or makes decisions without fully consulting me. I feel like I'm disappearing from my own healthcare experience." Others nod in recognition of this common dynamic. Sophia acknowledges the concern with compassion before offering practical strategies. "The key is preparation," she explains. "When you enter medical settings with clear documentation, specific questions, and confident self-advocacy, you establish yourself as the primary decision-maker in your care." The workshop walks through several practical elements of health sovereignty. First, Sophia demonstrates how to maintain comprehensive medication records, including not just prescriptions, but over-the-counter medicines, supplements, and occasional treatments. Medication interactions don't distinguish between prescription and non-prescription items, she reminds the group. Your complete picture is essential for safe care. Next, she guides participants through creating symptom journals that translate subjective experiences into objective information providers can use. Saying I've been tired is different from documenting my energy drops significantly around 2 p.m. each day, improves slightly after rest, and impacts my ability to complete routine tasks, Sophia explains. Specific information leads to better care. The most transformative element of health sovereignty, however, involves preparing effectively for medical appointments. Sophia distributes a simple template with 3 sections: observations since the last visit, specific questions for this visit, and desired outcomes from the interaction. This approach changes the dynamic completely, Eleanor adds, sharing her experience implementing Sophia's system. My doctor no longer speaks around me to whoever's accompanied me to the appointment. Instead, he addresses me directly, knowing I've come prepared for meaningful discussion. Jack raises his hand, offering a technological complement to Sophia's paper-based system. I use a secure health app that lets me share specific information with my providers and family members, but I control who sees what. My specialist can access my complete cardiac history, while my daughter only sees the information I've chosen to share with her. This selective transparency represents another aspect of health sovereignty, determining who needs what information, rather than defaulting to complete disclosure to family members. Adult children often request access to health details out of concern, but this can inadvertently shift decision-making authority away from where it belongs. My daughter means well, Walter comments, but knowing every detail of my health created anxiety for her that actually made our interactions more about my medical status than our relationship. Now I share meaningful updates without burdening her with minutiae she doesn't need. Creating your own approach to health sovereignty begins with organization. Gathering your complete health history, current medications, provider information, and insurance details in accessible formats. Whether you prefer paper or digital systems, having this information at your fingertips provides immediate confidence. Next, develop relationships with healthcare providers who respect your autonomy. It's perfectly acceptable to interview potential doctors, Sophia advises. Ask how they view the patient-provider relationship, how they incorporate family when appropriate, and how they ensure your voice remains central in decisions. Finally, communicate clear boundaries with family members regarding your healthcare. Express appreciation for their concern while establishing your expectations about privacy, appointment attendance, and decision-making processes. Health sovereignty doesn't mean excluding family from your care, Sophia emphasizes as the workshop concludes. It means ensuring that their involvement supports, rather than supplants, your autonomy. The most loving gift you can give your children is freedom from healthcare decisions they're not equipped to make and shouldn't need to make while you remain capable. This approach honors the Stoic teaching that we should focus energy on what we can control. While you cannot prevent health challenges, you can determine how you navigate them, creating systems that maintain your decision-making authority and dignity throughout your health journey. Now let's explore our 8th and final key, developing digital fluency. The Technology Center at Harborview hums with activity as Eleanor Hayes guides a class through the basics of video calling. At 72, the retired literature professor brings the same patience and clarity to technology instruction that once characterized her teaching of Shakespeare and Austen. Every time you learn to do something online yourself, she says, while helping a neighbor connect with a grandchild across the country, you're protecting your independence. What Eleanor understands intuitively is something social researchers have documented extensively. The digital divide increasingly separates those who maintain independence and those who become dependent on others for essential functions. When my bank eliminated in-person statements, my first instinct was to ask my daughter to manage my accounts online, one class participant admits. It seemed easier than learning the system myself, but that would have given her visibility into every purchase, every financial decision. I realized I wasn't ready to surrender that privacy. Eleanor nods in understanding. Digital tools are neither good nor bad inherently. They're simply the infrastructure of modern life. Our choice isn't whether to use them, but whether we'll control them or they'll control us. The class focuses on practical mastery of essential digital skills, what Eleanor calls the Independence Toolkit. This includes securely managing online accounts, conducting video calls with family and healthcare providers, utilizing delivery services for groceries and medications, accessing entertainment and educational content, and recognizing potential scams or security risks. I'm not suggesting you need to become a technology expert, Eleanor assures a participant who seems overwhelmed. But functional literacy in these areas eliminates many reasons your children might feel they need to step in and manage aspects of your life. Jack joins the class to demonstrate smart home features that support independence. My daughter worried about me forgetting to turn off appliances, he explains while showing the simple app on his tablet. Now I can check and control essential functions remotely, which gives us both peace of mind without her needing to check on me constantly. Sophia adds her perspective on telehealth applications. When my arthritis flares, getting to appointments becomes challenging. Being comfortable with video visits means I can maintain consistent care without depending on others for transportation. My children appreciate knowing I'm receiving appropriate medical attention without their involvement being necessary. Developing your own digital fluency begins with honest assessment of your current capabilities and the specific functions most relevant to your independence. Rather than attempting to master all available technologies, focus on those that directly support your autonomy in areas that matter to you. Next, find learning resources matched to your preferences. While community classes like Eleanor's provide social support, along with instruction, online tutorials, library programs, or one-to-one, mentoring might better suit your learning style. The method matters less than regular incremental progress. I set aside 30 minutes each morning to practice one digital skill, Walter shares with the group. I'm not aiming for expertise, just comfortable competence that eliminates unnecessary dependency. This approach honors the Stoic principle that learning is a lifelong process. By developing digital fluency at your own pace, you're not just acquiring technical skills, you're preserving agency in a world where essential functions increasingly exist online. As the class concludes, Eleanor offers a final reflection. Technology changes constantly, which can feel overwhelming. But the underlying skills, curiosity, resilience, willingness to experiment, these remain constant. Cultivate those qualities and specific applications become less intimidating. The participants practice video calling for a final time, their faces reflecting growing confidence. What began as a technical challenge has become a tangible expression of their commitment to independence, another tool in their comprehensive approach to living with dignity and autonomy. My grandchildren are amazed when I join family video calls without assistance, Olivia comments, as she successfully navigates the application. It changes how they see me, not as someone who needs help, but as someone who continues to adapt and grow. That perception matters more than they realize. This observation captures a profound truth about all 8 keys we've explored. The strategies that preserve your independence also transform how others perceive and interact with you. When your children see you implementing thoughtful systems that support your autonomy, their relationship with you can focus on connection rather than caretaking, enriching both of your lives immeasurably. As evening settles over Harborview, residents gather in the community amphitheater for their monthly concert series. Soft lighting creates an intimate atmosphere as people find their seats, greeting neighbors with the easy familiarity of shared lives. Eleanor, Sophia, Olivia, and Jack take their usual spots in the third row, leaving an empty chair beside them. Their animated conversation pauses as the program director steps onto the stage to introduce tonight's performers. Our final act tonight is someone many of you know from his architectural workshops, she announces with a warm smile. Tonight, Walter Parker will share an original composition about his journey toward independent living. The four friends exchange surprised glances as Walter walks onto the stage, guitar in hand. When he arrived at Harbour View after losing his wife, he rarely participated in community events, preferring the solitude of grief. His gradual emergence into community life has been a quiet victory they've all celebrated. Walter adjusts the microphone, looking momentarily hesitant before his gaze finds his friends. Drawing strength from their encouraging nods, he begins to play, his voice growing steadier with each verse. The song speaks of loss and renewal, of surrendering what cannot be kept, while claiming what remains possible. The final verse celebrates the discovery that independence doesn't mean standing alone. It means creating sustainable systems of mutual support. As applause fills the amphitheater, the camera pans outward, revealing the diverse community that has become a chosen family for these five friends. Their different paths led to this shared space where independence and interdependence exist in beautiful balance. The question isn't whether you'll need others. We all do. The question is, will you create a life where connection is a choice rather than a necessity? The answer, as these stories show, can be beautifully, powerfully yes. The principles we've explored, skill sharing, emergency planning, purposeful, rhythms, financial sovereignty, chosen family networks, adaptive environments, health advocacy, and digital fluency, form a comprehensive approach to aging with dignity and autonomy. Each strategy reinforces the others, creating resilience that preserves your independence while honoring your need for meaningful connection. Think about your own life for a moment. Which of these areas feels most vulnerable right now? Where do you sense subtle shifts toward dependency that don't serve your highest good or the relationships you cherish? These pain points aren't failings. They're invitations to create systems that better support your vision for this chapter of life. Perhaps you've noticed your adult children gradually assuming more control over your financial decisions. Or maybe healthcare appointments have become occasions where your voice feels increasingly marginal. You might recognize that your living environment creates unnecessary challenges, or that your social circle has narrowed to the point where family carries too much of your emotional and practical needs. How will you begin addressing these vulnerabilities? Which key resonates most deeply with your current circumstances? Consider starting there with one concrete step that moves you toward greater sovereignty in that area. Remember that this journey isn't about isolation or refusing help. It's about creating sustainable systems that honor your dignity while acknowledging the human need for connection. Your children will always be part of your life, but they don't need to be your life support. This new chapter can be your most empowered one yet. The Stoic philosophers taught that we find peace not by controlling all circumstances, but by focusing on what truly lies within our power. You may not control the physical realities of aging or the complex emotions that arise in family relationships, but you can control how you prepare for challenges, how you structure your environment, and how you nurture networks of mutual support. As Walter's song concludes and his friends surround him with congratulations, their joy reflects a profound truth. Independence isn't the opposite of connection. It's what makes genuine connection possible. When relationships exist by choice rather than necessity, they flourish in ways that nourish everyone involved. What will your next chapter look like? How will you apply these principles to create a life of dignity, purpose, and sustainable independence? The time to begin is now. One thoughtful step today creates momentum for the journey ahead. Your independence isn't just a gift to yourself, it's perhaps the greatest gift you can offer those you love. If you found something meaningful in all this, a like would let us know it resonated with you. Also, leave a comment below with your experience on this matter. Your story could help someone else going through the same situation. Thank you for watching.